We began a number of years ago. We began having a gathering to launch the term, and since we always recommend reflection to our students, it is a nice time to reflect on the things that we've accomplished together and the things that we're going to accomplish looking ahead. So thank you for being here this morning, and I hope that your initial day or two, depending if you taught yesterday or today, went well. We have wonderful students. We have an amazing, amazing faculty and staff, and it's so nice to see so many of you. I hope some of you had a break. I know some of you did not have a break because you taught or you worked all through the summer in the area of supporting student enrollment, and I thank you for that because it's been, as usual, quite an adventure this summer. There are many impressive qualities and traditions at Queensborough. We have very rigorous academic programs. We have, by reputation and in reality, an outstanding faculty. And we offer a personalized educational environment and experience for our students. And I think we're getting some recognition for that from them, which is really why we're all here. And I thank you for that collaboration. And we do it in collaboration here. We do it within disciplines, across disciplines. And I want to introduce some of our colleagues, but I want to also reiterate, keep us focused for this year because it's been my focus. And I've said this since I had the privilege to become the president here, to really have a very strong and engaged faculty. I'm a product in many ways of Queensborough. I went through faculty ranks at Queensborough. It's been something to me, a passion and something of great importance, and it's been over many decades, something to watch with great joy. And so our faculty is strong and engaged, and we're going to keep going in that direction. Certainly, Queensborough has a reputation for being very student-centered. You probably now can actually get a better sense of it because so many of our students end up writing to us after they leave here to say thank you, say things that they might have forgotten to say when they were here. But it's very, very wonderful. And of course, our community partnerships. We're a community college. We have great educational and cultural partnerships, and I think those are the three things for us that represent Queensborough. We do this together, and I want to thank my colleagues who, in governance bodies and certainly in the senior administration, for the work that we all do together. And so I just want to mention names, and they're not going to speak. They're just going to say hello or wave. Sherry Newcomb is our Senior Vice President, Chief Operating Officer. Sherry was here a number of years ago and went back to her home state, and thank goodness we convinced her to come back this way. She has an amazing perspective, and one of the things that we're going to focus on is really trying to put together all the great pieces that we do and leverage them with great strength and get to the point where we understand. It's very hard. I always say to everyone, we have volume and pace. Whatever you're doing at Queensborough, you're doing incredible volume, incredible pace, whether you're a faculty member, HEO, staff member, a member of MNO, the Maintenance and Operations team. So we really need, at some point, to take a look at all the things we do and see how they connect and help us really predict so we have a greater sense of order to what we do in terms especially of enrollment and of student success. That's why we're here, and so I thank Sherry for coming back and leading that. Sandra Palmer's our Chief Academic Officer. You'll be hearing from her in a few minutes, and she's joined by Glenn Birdie and Kathleen Landy in Academic Affairs. Michelle Hodge, of course, leads the Student Affairs area with Brian Kerr and Ronnie Lucas, who is still working, I'm sure, with students, as is Laura Bruno, who is still up there and probably, again, trying to finish up our enrollment. Rosemary Zins, and she does a lot of work to get folks to support us, both in philanthropically and in many other ways. Bill Faulkner, who heads up Finance and Administration with David Wasserman and Mark Carpentier. And Liza Larios, our Dean for Human Resources and Labor Relations. Karen Steele and Artie, and I tease them, they have the longest titles, but they head up assessment, accreditation, and institutional effectiveness, including Middle States, which will present a whole range of opportunities I always look at challenges as also opportunities. We're going to launch our Middle States self-study. As you know, we're accredited, and every number of years, we go through a process to really do a little check, an internal check. And you'll be hearing more about that because it will probably engage literally dozens and dozens, scores of faculty and staff over the next couple of years, serving on committees and learning more about ourselves and helping us get better and better. Denise Ward heads up our pre-college workforce development, continuing education efforts. She also now will oversee grants. We have a new grants officer, and she started Monday, the new grants officer, and I'm sure she'll be reaching out to many of you. She has 30 years' experience, Maura Adams, and I know that our faculty takes great advantage of that because they're very prolific in seeking grants and being awarded grants. Jeff Chen joins Denise. He's been here for a number of years. He does incredible work, again, with many of the grants with our community and school partners. Stephen DiDio heads up marketing communications, and in the last number of years, he has literally transformed our platforms and our social media, which, I mean, it's kind of above my head, being the age that I am, but I've come to appreciate these small and big differences, so thank you, Stephen. Mary Jane Shaw is our Title IX officer. Many of you know who she is. She's a great resource for faculty, staff, and students. And of course, Joe Pantaleo, who's our Chief Diversity Officer, and who is one of the more extraordinary members of our campus community, because she's known to you in so many different roles, but we're very happy that she's here in this one. Our department chair people are here, and they are wonderful. They've been elected by you to lead your departments. This year, Nidhi Gadora is new to being the chair of the Biological Sciences and Geology Department. We give you full credit. And I also want to thank Regina Rochford, who led the Department of Academic Literacy, and it continues to be an important aspect of the transition of the Department of Academic Literacy and its collaboration with now the English department. We have a faculty executive committee, again elected by faculty, and I'd like to introduce them. They're with us today. Phil Pecorino was the chair, Edmund Klingen, Wilma Anthony Fletcher, David Humphreys, Tony Colios, Jenny Lynn Mon, and Alicia Sinclair. And they already have, but they will be reaching out with various information, and they will engage you in different elections for positions on certain committees for both the college and the university. The Academic Senate is our legislative body, and it meets in this room, usually the second Tuesday, unless there's a crazy change of day, as it were, the second Tuesday of every month in this room. The Senate is made up of faculty and students and administrators and HEOs and alum and CLTs, so it's a great body of folks. And the steering committee, Peter Bales is the chair, Dr. Emily Tai, and Joel Kuzai, and Jeff Schwartz is the technology officer. We also have, of course, as every college and university does, a chapter of the Professional Staff Congress. Isn't that what they used to be called? The Congress. Thank you. The PSC, Professional Staff Conference. And we're very pleased that their leadership is here today. Edmund Klingen is the chairperson, Julian Stark, Mike Cesarano, Lana Zinger, George Machida, and at-large members, Phil Pecorino, Clara Weingart, Susan Jacobowitz, and Charles Newman. We're also very, very pleased because we have a new student government, as we do every year. And we're pleased for two counts. First of all, because the previous student government all graduated, that's wonderful. So now we welcome our new student officers, and I'm going to ask them to stand up because they are new to all of us, to you, obviously. We're very pleased. Let me see who's here. You want to say your name? Here you go. Just say your name. Maybe where your family came from. There you go. Is it working? Now it's working. Thank you, Jesse. Jesse's about it now. It's working?
Good morning. My name is Danielle Heath. I'm the Vice President for Part-Time Students.
And my name is Razia Arabi, treasurer for the student government, also USS alternate, having a privilege of serving and actually representing you all and students in the City University of New York.
Good morning. My name is Shioma Modes-Jones, and I'm your administrative vice president.
Good morning, my name is Mateo Sainz, and I'm Executive Secretary.
Hi, I'm Amir Malamzadeh, and I'm VP of Evening Students.
Good morning, my name is Harris Khan. I'm the parliamentarian for the Student Government Association. I'm also the delegate and the senator for the University Student Senate, representing the 16,000 students of QCC, and I'm also in the board of directors for New York Public Interest Research Group.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We also have said goodbye to a few faculty colleagues who've retired over the last year. Alan Kashkin in music, Dinah Moshe in physics, who completed 50 years of service as a member of our faculty. Paul Weiss did in fact retire. I never thought he would, and we're going to miss him. And Fran Lee from the business department. So you might want to just reach out, say hello to them, unless maybe they're back as adjuncts, but I'm not sure. Despite the retirements, we still have grown our faculty, and in the last number of years, we've grown by 20%. It's a great faculty, and as you can see across this room, it's a relatively new faculty. I can't say young anymore. I'll say new faculty. And about 40% are untenured. So we have many things that we are doing and hope to do to make sure that they have an extraordinary experience here, as many of us have. So this year there are 403 full-time faculty, and they're going to be joined by 11 more faculty members with the new contract. Members of CLIP and CUNY START will be part officially of our faculty counts, and I hope that means we get more votes in different places like UFS, but we'll see. This term, 23 new faculty were appointed from searches, including 2 CLTs, and 15 substitute faculty appointments were made, and these positions will be filled through the search process this year. These new colleagues joined the 7 faculty who began last January, and I want to thank everyone who served on search committees. It's an enormous amount of work, but obviously you have great results, and you could take great pride in that. So at this point, I have to say we have, I believe, the lowest faculty-student ratio in the university. It's, I think it's 28.5. That is extraordinary, considering I've had students come back and tell me they're in classes with 750 students. So we don't have rooms that hold 750 students, thank God. So we are happy about that. We have many new HEO colleagues. Our HEO colleagues are a parallel series, obviously, to our faculty. They serve across the college in various offices, student services, financial services, in some cases, instructional services. So I welcome them. We have a couple of new folks. We have a new athletic director who will be starting in a couple of weeks. We have a new veteran services coordinator, and she's going to start also in a couple of weeks. And as I mentioned, our new grants officer. So I know they will be reaching out to all of you, and I know they'll have the Queensborough welcome as faculty, as HEOs, and I thank you for that. Fall enrollment. We are enrollment driven. We are revenue dependent. And so fall enrollment, which is still going on, is expected to be about 16,000 students, including about 3,400 new freshmen and 1,000 transfer students. This is important. We've made great efforts to convert applications into people who are actually here, and we've done that in a number of ways. I want to thank the many, many advisors, the many, many staff members, the many chair people who've been here all summer trying to help us out, the secretaries and academic departments who are frontline to enrollment. And I know it's been, as it usually is, a busy, busy summer, and I thank you for that. We have accomplished a number of things this year. Now, As a college, we can't take credit for this completely, but everybody should be very pleased at the accomplishment, again, that was done collaboratively, and that's the new PSC contract and many other contracts. But it was, I think, an extraordinary you should applaud, you should. It was hard. It was hard. You know, the PSC did such an incredible job of lobbying alongside the university. It's been one of the scarier lobbying years, I have to tell you, and I've been doing it a long time. I give a lot of credit to the leadership of the PSC, the leadership of the university, to try to reach our legislative friends. So much depended on them. And I think it's an example of you may hold different views on different things, but the bottom line is we're together in this, and our faculty and staff deserved a contract. They have a contract. I wish I had a little more details on rollout. I think Edmund said there'll be a chapter meeting in a couple of weeks. Thank you, September 28th. Okay, we are hoping, you know, CUNY, if it does one thing well, it does rumors well. And rumors, the rumor has it that we will be having, you'll see an impact on your paychecks soon. We don't have any dates, and as you know, so I wouldn't go out and buy that yacht yet. But as you know, we're going to work every which way we can to ensure. Remember, there are, it's not just the PSC, but the other contracts, many of them were settled as well. So it's over 45,000 individuals, and everything has to be calibrated from the day a person started to the year, and it's very complicated. And if Mike Brzezinski were here, he'd tell us how to do it. But but we're working really, really hard, and we hope to. I think the pledge is that you will see money this semester, hopefully earlier than later in the semester, but we're all working on it, and I know that you'll be kept informed also by Edmund and his colleagues. So, other accomplishments, we were fortunate to watch 2,500 graduates come out of Queensborough this past year. That's I think our highest total ever. That's amazing. It's thanks to you. Really. If you were at graduation, thank you, and you saw how incredible a day it was, and I encourage everyone to be part of commencement because it means so much to our students and their families. Our students mostly go to Queens, New York, Baruch, Hunter, John Jay, but they also go to private schools, et cetera. What's interesting is almost as many students as there are graduates leave before they finish a degree. This is very, very worrisome. First of all, financially, they're much better off staying here and getting a degree. For us, it means that we're trying to populate advanced courses, and it does help to have people who qualify for those advanced courses. So the one thing I ask faculty is to please help us with that through alerting us to a student who may not be doing so well or needs some intervention. That's through Starfish. The other thing is if you're in, and many of you have sequential courses in your departments, they're going to be sitting in front of you now for 14 weeks plus the final. So please recruit. I mean, there's no shame in it, and you can reach them in different ways in your classes directly or through your class rosters. It is important that students realize that they have great support here, our faculty, and I think that would be very helpful because we are looking forward to hanging on to the students we have. It's much easier in a way to keep our students than to find new ones these days. So thank you for any help you could give with that. Our graduation rate has increased almost 4% over the last couple of years. That's huge. I mean, that needle, because the base wasn't that big, so anybody from math can tell you that's really huge. And it's now a four-year graduation rate of about 31.3%, which includes the students who finish, who perhaps go early and then come back because we have a reverse transfer program. We have done a couple of things. We launched our Office of New Student Engagement. We reassigned some staff in the student services area. They reach out to anybody who applies to us. You know, a lot of people apply, not everybody actually shows up. So what they do is make sure that more and more and more of them show up. And they reach out to them, they offer workshops, orientations, what to expect on a placement test, how to plan financially. This is huge for our students, and they include the families of the students as well. I have a very strong belief that families can make or break a student in many respects, and remember that this is, in our case, largely a student population that is first-generation college, or at least first-generation college in this country. So it's important to have the families involved, and remember that most of them have come from high schools. Overwhelmingly, our students come from the high schools. They have never paid tuition. They have never bought a book. They've never paid for a Metro card. It's really culture shock for them. And I know it's culture shock for some of you who moved to be faculty here, the money, that is, in terms of the real estate. But for our students, it's quite significant. And so our Office of Student Engagement has worked very hard at that. We also, as I mentioned, have a transfer resource unit, again, to help our students understand the benefits of staying here and the opportunities and scholarships at the senior colleges. Over 85% of our students are enrolled in transfer programs. So obviously, we owe them that help to make sure that they're on the right track and they get there. I'm going to skip some of these things because I'll be here through the next semester. I want to congratulate again the Departments of Academic Literacy, which are now one with English. They have wonderful new digs. We remodeled Humanities third floor. The English department now has 62 full-time faculty, 3 CLTs and 1 HEO. It is, it's an incredibly wonderful department, big department, and we're very pleased about that, and the leadership of the faculty of those departments that now are one. So congratulations. The other, I think, extraordinary accomplishment was our Department of Speech and Theater Arts. They received their national certification from this organization. Amazing. We're only one of 8 community colleges in the United States to qualify for certification. We play with the big boys and big girls, and we're very, very proud. Now, our art department is close behind. The initial response to their self-study was very, very favorable, so we're very hopeful to have that certification in art and design. And of course, the departments of dance, the Department of Music are also hard at work at their certifications. This is enormously important because our students have incredibly more opportunities. It is exceedingly prestigious for the faculty of those departments and for this institution, and it's a very arduous process. I also know the business department is doing its self-study, and so they'll be working very hard on accreditation, and I think the nursing department begins to think about it this year coming up, right? So, accountability, because some folks do feel a little bit uncomfortable with accountability, et cetera, but it seems to be the way of the world. So we are measured and evaluated and assessed up and down. Luckily, we have very good things to demonstrate, and so there's no worry except for the incredible amount of work it does to get all that information together. We have a new degree program in public health, sponsored by the Department of Biology in collaboration with their colleagues from Health Education. We're looking forward to a dual joint program with either Hunter or York. Their programs we don't feel are sufficiently rigorous at this time, so they're going to have to step it up. And then we'll go after them for a dual joint. But we do have our 10th dual joint degree program, and it was with the Department of Engineering and Technology led it. It's called Computer Science and Internet Security, and it's with John Jay. So we now have 4 programs with John Jay, and they're a great partner. So I think we can probably set up tutorials on how to do dual joint programs for not just Queensborough, but for everybody else in CUNY. We're the only community college that has more than one dual joint degree program, and we're very proud of that. So we have 10. We also, as you know, got a 2020 grant a couple of years ago, which was significant. We finally started getting some equipment, and we have this incredible piece of equipment. It's a 3D printer, and there are only 7 colleges in the country that have this printer, this incredible piece of equipment. UCLA, NYU, Rochester Institute of Technology, and Columbia, and Queensborough. So I know you're going to get demos. really is amazing. And ET is working with the biology department now on exploration, and with a business, an organization, a company, on prosthetics, because I think there's a lot that can be accomplished, and so we're looking forward to that. Again, it's all faculty-led. We also launched a food bank. This was led by our faculty, and I'm sure you'll hear more about it. This is a food bank for students, faculty, and staff. And again, I want to thank the faculty who really led the way for that. We've received, again, significant grants. This is a very, very productive faculty. We have grants with NEH, NIH, NSF, NEA, and NASA, which at least we've heard about, right? We've also just gotten word we have 3 CCRGs and a CUNY Interdisciplinary Research Grant. We just got word this week of those. It's really impressive. The collaborative grants, I think, are impressive because clearly the senior colleges and other community colleges seek us out as partners. And I think it's great that we can be the lead, and we have been the lead on so many grants, which is unusual for community colleges, but not unusual for us. So I thank the faculty who worked on those, and I want you to know that we're behind you going forward with more. We have done a lot of work this summer through the Marketing and Communications Department. There's been a full redesign of our website, over 10,000 pages of content. It's reformatted, it's optimized for navigation with mobile devices, and it improves access for folks with disabilities. It is ADA compliant, which is a huge, huge thing. It's an appropriate and actually required thing. Not everybody has it. So I ask you to take a look at the website. It's really kind of stunning, and please check your content, because we did move 10,000 pages, but you know what they say, had to be good going in to come out the other side. So take a look. We stand ready to help you. I think once you see what's possible on there, you will know that your departments can benefit greatly from adding more content. And Stephen DiDio and his team, they are amazing, will help with that. We've also added a new dialogue for faculty to allow free-flowing exchanges of interesting thoughts. And we've updated the email system, migrating to some platform that is beyond me. But I think that's really good. The one element that we did, and many of it was in response to many requests, that the dialogues, both community dialogue and the faculty dialogue, are opt-in, and I think that's good. It helps, I think, direct information and thoughts to the people who are interested in exchanging that. And, of course, our internet speed has been upgraded. I don't know if you've noticed. Now, you haven't noticed it this week because 270-some-odd thousand people are trying to get registered at CUNY. But our campus increased bandwidth last year to, 2.0 gigabytes. But IT is now working with CUNY Central, and we will have an increase to 10 gigabytes within the next month or two. That is, I gather, makes everything come real fast, much faster. So now we can all hear from Phil a whole lot faster. Yay! Yay. We have a lot of campus improvements. You may have seen the big one, the courtyard. Finally, 10 years, it's open. And the bad news, it's only phase one, but that's okay. You know, I know you're going to join me in thanking Buildings and Grounds, because what they have accomplished, as they always do, is amazing, really amazing. I think they prove you don't have to be in college to pull an all-nighter, because they've been doing that all week, literally all night, to get ready for the first day of class. We have 31 podium rooms either added or remodeled this summer. I don't know how, with the ACC and IT and B&G, what a team. So there are 18 new smart rooms and 13 were renovated. And by the end of this year, all of our instructional rooms will have technology equipped facilities. As I mentioned, we have a new faculty suite for the English department, and they also gained 2 computer labs and a conference room. So I hope you go over and see it. It's third floor of Humanities, and we're getting there piece by piece. The technology building had amazing renovations in classrooms and labs, both in their building and the science building. And we renovated labs in the chemistry department as well. The RFK building, as you know, we have a second dance studio. We also renovated classrooms, and we did office renovations for adjunct faculty. And our new athletic director as well, we had to build some more spaces down there. So I'm not sure all of that's ready, but I think almost everything is. We've added security cameras. It should be very clear to everyone in this world, there's no expectation of privacy, and there is none here either. So we have 228 cameras throughout this campus, interior, exterior. It is the way of the world, and we also added 8 blue light emergency telephones in parking lots, which I think are very helpful. I appreciate that. And we added some by the track as well. With 37 acres, it's really hard to make sure that everybody is comfortable, and that's what we're trying to do. You may have seen our new athletic track with the Tiger logo. That's the real logo. That was done by our artistic staff here with Stephen's office, and it replaces the Microsoft Office Tower Tiger that had been used, that thank God no lawyer saw. But there it is. You have noticed a lot of trenching, and that's the electrical upgrade project. We were built many, many years ago for 5,000 people without the internet. So now we have 16,000 people plus 2,500 employees and with an internet. And so we need electrical power. This is something like a $70 million project, and it will take a bit of time. And we have to coordinate with Con Ed, which means we don't control everything, which is not always easy. But again, it will improve our life at some point, so they tell me. The Oakland Dining Room and Loggia also are getting some upgrades, and I hope you get to visit. The Oakland Dining Room will have some sort of official, welcome everybody to that. So the year ahead, we have a strategic plan that many of you contributed to, and so it has 6 major areas of focus: faculty and staff development, curriculum, our academies, college readiness, it's something we all, I think, struggle with no matter what course you teach, technology, in and outside of the classroom, and of course, the whole notion of building our community and increasing dialogue. We have very strong financial support through our budget for these goals. Everybody here has worked very hard over many years, and I think, again, we have an incredible track record in the university. It's been pointed out, 77% of our budget goes for instruction and direct student support. 77%. That is probably the highest in the university, if not most of New York area. And it was one of the things that at least I got some sort of reaction positively from legislators, because I could say that when we were up in Albany and meeting with them. So I'm very proud of the work of finance and administration, and I'm very proud of all of us who really make sure we have the students that contribute a piece of it, and also go out and work with our legislators who contribute something, not enough. We're state-assisted, not state-supported. And I thank you all for anything you can do to represent us and to encourage people to look at how great we are, which we are. We're going to continue a number of things this year. We have a presidential fellowship program to really support mid-career faculty with their research and their scholarship. We're very pleased about that, and we have a second cohort. And I encourage anyone who's eligible to think about that going forward. We're going to continue and strengthen our support for high-impact practices. They're led by our faculty, and they're supported through CEDL, Academic Affairs. Kathleen Landy, you've met. We're committing to 2 positions. We had, again, remember I said pieces of things? We had done a lot of work through grant money on the high-impact practices, and I think they're mature enough now to really have a chance to move forward. We're committing full-time people to help with that. Our faculty are leading it. I think it's a great investment. Last year, 323 faculty, full-time and adjunct, participated and used high-impact practices. What's amazing to me, and I've shared this obviously with the university, I have to read this because it's impressive. 164 conference presentations were made as a result, and 79 publications came out of that experience for our faculty. And I want to thank the faculty who lead these, their colleagues in the HIPS, Sharon Ellerton with Service Learning, Kathleen Wentrick and Alicia Sircone, Collaborative Assignments in SWIG, Rob Becker, Yost Burgers, and Jeff Jankowski with WI, Meg Tarafdar with Global Diversity and Learning, and Dr. Sharon Lal Ramlarain for undergraduate research. And again, anyone who is interested is welcome to join. I hope we do get more and more faculty involved. We've had participation across every single department, and I'm grateful for that, and I think it's wonderful. It makes a difference with student learning. It makes a difference with student success. Everything we have, all the data we have suggests that. So we're going to continue, obviously, our academies. Our academies give students a kind of an identity related to their field of major, and we have advisors who work with them. We have faculty coordinators who work with them. And the whole notion of academies is a combination of advisement and the use of technology for outreach. And most importantly, this whole notion of faculty who really help us. You help us so much by using Starfish, because that's how we can close a loop when we are students in trouble. If you tell us, we'll get to that student somehow, some way. That's what our advisors do, and then we'll let you know what happened. It's really, really important, and I thank you in advance for that. We're continuing our STEM scholarship program. Literally, a couple of thousand students benefited this past year. We do it in winter session and summer. So this coming winter session, if you know a student who wants to take a course in STEM, that's science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and in this case, psychology, they can take a course if they qualify, meaning they're in good standing academically, in this winter session, and Glenn Birdie will be reaching out to students about that. We're also continuing our Milestone Scholarship, which is funded by our foundation board and our enterprise activity, and that gives students who are within one or two courses of finishing half the degree in just 1 year, because we're trying to get them out in 2, which is, nobody should say 2-year colleges anymore, but we still do. So if they're within 1 or 2 courses of finishing half of their degree program in 1 year, we offer them a scholarship for that 1 or 2 course in, again, winter session or summer session. So we're going to continue that because I think that's a help for students. We also have great resources for students. You know them. They're represented by student services across the board. Single Stop is a great resource for students, especially students in crisis. Obviously, we have counseling services, which are very, very important, but we also have ways to help people with their resources, whatever it is, housing, et cetera, et cetera. And we also have the Carol and Milton Petrie Foundation grant, which can help students financially with emergency situations in that area. So please know that there are people and programs available for our students. I mentioned that we are going to launch our Middle States, and you'll be hearing more about that from who's going to say that? Oh, Artie and Karen. I have to remember who's doing what these days. There are lots of resources for faculty, and Sandra Palmer, our Chief Academic Officer, will explain them. I'm just going to say briefly, we have right now $147,500 to support faculty who are presenting their research on behalf of Queensborough at conferences. So and that includes money, the PSC CUNY travel money is allocated through the central process, and that's included in here. It's $47,477. Our QCC fund, those are our wonderful supporters who contribute money and get other people to help us raise money, and they have donated $25,000 toward that, and of course we've committed our own $75,000 from our regular budget. So if faculty are interested in presenting research at conferences on behalf of their Queensborough affiliation, please by all means see someone in academic affairs. I'm going to turn this over to Sandra Palmer, and she's going to talk a little bit about resources, and then we're going to go back to featuring the best part of what we do here, our faculty. So Sandra, you want to come up?
Good morning, everybody. Two of my favorite times in the academic year. One is when the faculty come back from the summer, and the other is, of course, commencement. So welcome to my first day, my first favorite day of the academic year. And I wish you all a good and a productive fall semester. I want to welcome the new faculty. I met them on Wednesday. I'm very impressed by the high caliber of our new faculty here, and I hope you all get to meet them. They're lovely, and I hope they too have a wonderful journey at Queensborough Community College. The president asked me to speak a little bit on, do I just press this? Whoops. What I do. Oh, okay. She asked me to speak a little bit on faculty resources. This is very quick, just an overview. But first, I'd like to just point out the Office of Academic Affairs and let you know who's who. There's been a few changes. Of course, that's me at the top. My biggest support, my huge support is Glenn Birdie, also in the office, the Dean for Academic Operations. And then, of course, we have our two lovely faculty fellows, Andrea Salas and Linda Reisman, and of course, Kathleen Landy, who is the director of CETL. Ann Tullio this semester was just a wonderful getting us up and running for the semester. Ann Tullio, of course, did an excellent job, not to mention the folks in student affairs, they're wonderful. And then because Bruce Naples is no longer with us, Mark Chapufka and Dennis Bahar have joined our team. Dennis overseeing instructional technology, and Mark basically overseeing the technology piece of the Academic Computing Center. So they're with us. And then we have Jenny Williams, who is the academic program specialist, who has been a wonderful help in the office so far. And she's involved in a number of projects. And whatever we ask her to do, she says yes, and she jumps right in. So it's been lovely having her aboard. Very quickly, QCC resources for faculty. These are research resources. We have the Office of Academic Affairs travel grants. We have the CETL pedagogical research grants. We have the new faculty mentor program. The president mentioned the Presidential Fellowship Program. We offer promotion and tenure workshops, which I think were very helpful last year. The Faculty Inquiry Group Awards, and then, of course, the new Faculty Institute, which will take place in January. Speaking of the Presidential Fellowship Program, we do encourage you, if you're eligible, to apply. We have 5 faculty who are in the cohort right now who are participating in the Faculty Fellowship Program, but it's really intended to provide support for mid-career faculty who require additional resources to engage in scholarly activities. It's a wonderful opportunity for faculty to work up to 4 hours of release time each semester. They have a senior faculty member, either from QCC or another CUNY institution, work with them. They get up to $1,000 to support scholarly activity for the project, and it's renewable for up to 4 semesters. If you're interested, please talk to me. I'm happy to give you more detail, but as I said, it is a wonderful opportunity, and I hope some of you who are eligible take advantage of it. I mentioned the workshops on promotion and tenure. And as I said, last year they seemed to be fruitful. And we will continue it this year as well. I just put in tentative dates for the different workshops that we offered last year, and these are not set in stone yet. But they are intended to inform new faculty, mid-career faculty, and faculty thinking about applying for promotion to full professor. It really gives them some insight, and what we've done is we've had panels of people who have been through the process, or a number of the chairs participated last year, who really give some important insight in, the nuts and bolts of what you need to know and do for reappointment, tenure, and promotion. One of the most productive of these workshops, I think, was the practice sessions that we held on presenting before faculty PMB, the committee for full professor. So those faculty who applied for full professor had the opportunity of actually practicing in front of a group of people. One of the people that helped, one of the faculty that helped was from the speech and theater department. Ashley, I know you're here because I saw you, and she, it was a wonderful opportunity for these people to really pretend. It was like a mock or a pretend trial presentation of of what they were going to present to the college PMB. With wonderful comments, and when these faculty actually came up to do their presentations, they did an exceptional job, and I was so pleased. So I think that's very very productive, and we'll do that again this year. CUNY resources for faculty. New faculty get 24 hours of release time. The Faculty Fellowship Publication Program, the PSE CUNY grants, the Collaborative Incentive Research Grants Program, the Community College Research Grants Program, and the Chancellor's Research Fellowship. There is a complete listing on the website, on the Academic Affairs website, under Faculty Development, that will list all of the QCC grants and all of the CUNY grants for your information. And I think that'll be very helpful for you. Speaking of, the president mentioned it, we do have four of our faculty who just got word of receiving CUNY awards. First, the Community College Research Grant Program, CCRG, Kersha Smith and Rommel Robertson from Social Sciences. I don't know if you guys are here. If you want to stand up. Anybody here? No? Okay. Areti Simunis from Biological Sciences and Geology. You here? Okay. And Sunjun Wei from Chemistry. Here? All right. And then, of course, the CUNY Interdisciplinary Research Grant Award was given to Chantal Damas in physics. She worked in collaboration with a colleague at one of the other CUNY schools. Chantal, are you here? All right. Anyway, congratulations to them. It's a wonderful honor. Regarding service opportunities, service is very important at the college. It's one of the so-called three legs of the stool, together with teaching and scholarship. And we can divide service opportunities in three pieces, three parts: department opportunities, college opportunities, and university opportunities. Just a couple examples of department opportunities: the P&B, Curriculum Committee, Awards, Research, College Committees, certainly the Academic Senate. You have the Steering Committee, the Faculty Executive Committee, the Academic Review Committee, the Academic Freedom Committee, and many, many others. I'm not going to go into it. CEDL, you can conduct workshops. Of course, you can serve as a coordinator of one of the HIPs. And then, of course, there's all kinds of college task forces. At the university level, there's a University Faculty Senate, there's the University Task Forces, and there may be even more. that if you want to go to that level, there are more possibilities. The president mentioned the Middle States self-study coming up, and if anyone's thinking of what can I do for service, here's your time to, this is your go, this is your time to get involved. I think it's a wonderful process. I've been through it several times. It's nerve-wracking, it's stressful, but participating in the process and putting together the self-study and serving on the working groups is a wonderful experience. It's a wonderful learning experience, an opportunity to work with your colleagues, to collaborate, and it's an opportunity to really, show the Middle States accreditors how great an institution this is, which it is. So the call for volunteers and groups will be formed in spring of 2017, so that's next spring. And the working groups will begin work in the fall of 2017, and there'll be about a 2-year process. It's a long process, but it's an important, very important process and very meaningful. Also, CETL has all kinds of events all year long. This just shows you some of the highlights for the fall 2016 semester. I know Kathleen sent out to all the faculty this morning the complete calendar. This is just highlights. Actually, today there is a workshop on support for academic service learning. I know Sharon's here out there. We have guidelines for the CUNY Research Scholars Program mentor applications coming up. September is full, as you can see, and these are only highlights. This is not everything. October is full with wonderful things. One very interesting workshop, which I would recommend, if you're interested in teaching or learning about honors or the honors program, is on October 17th, teaching honors classes. Might be very interesting. And then in November and December, more workshops. It's a never-ending series of workshops and activities for faculty. Kathleen's done a wonderful job. She just completed her first year at the college about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And there's just whatever you need to know or whatever you want to learn. If you want to get involved in any of the HIPs or learn about the HIPs, CETL is the place to go, and Kathleen's the person to see. It's a wonderful office. She has wonderful support. Andrea Salas is in there, and Susan Madera in there, and as the president said, we're getting 2 new full-time staff in there, so it'll be a full-functioning, very busy office. And that's it. Any questions? No? Questions? No? Thank you and welcome again, everybody. It's wonderful to see you back.
Thank you very much, Sandra. We have wonderful faculty about to speak a little bit about incredible things that are going on. You could have chosen any institution which to teach. You chose Queensborough, and there are certainly easier environments, perhaps less of a workload, but we do it really because of the incredible opportunities we have with diversity of our students, with the way that we can impact and affect people's lives, not just the students, but our colleagues on the faculty, on the staff, and I think that's really great. It's really important when you're in a classroom. You've all noticed our students are from all over the world. I don't have to tell you that. You've heard it a million times. But I think in this last number of months, during which for most of the summer our flag flew at half-staff, many of us began to wonder, okay, we have not just an opportunity but an obligation to really think about differences and to think about how we can really explore, candidly discuss certain things about everybody's lives that are very, very complicated. And sometimes the world is inhospitable, as we've seen. So we have a great group of faculty who are part of, there's an official title to it. It's called the Faculty Diversity Strategic Plan Advisory Committee, and they've been together for about a year. And our wonderful members. It's led by Trevor Milton, Carrie Ann Smith, but Nadia Carmona, Wilma Fletcher Anthony, Wendy Ford, Marvin Gale, Danny Sexton, Meg Tarafdar are supported with Dan Lesham and Amy Traver. And I think they've come up with some interesting notions. We've talked with the students over the course of the summer, and they're going to partner with us. It's an opportunity, and it really is our obligation to think about the world around us and to thread it through what we do, whether it's classroom discussions or assignments, co-curricular activities, dialogues, constructive dialogues, because everybody here can contribute in different ways at their own choice. And I think that this group of faculty will show us the way in many respects. So Trevor is going to take the lead, and he's going to share, along with Carrie, some of his thoughts, his vision, and some specific things that the group is working on. And they welcome all of you to join the committee itself and certainly to participate in a variety of activities. The hope is that we're going to have something that's not just a one-off, as they say, but a whole program that keeps us focused and allows people to choose, whether it's a faculty member or a student, allows people to choose just how they might engage in their time, in their place. And I want to thank my colleagues in advance. And Trevor, you're on.
Hi, everybody. Apparently, I have incredibly good timing. I literally just walked in the door. Literally. How do I? Yeah. So I want to present something real quick. That's all right. So, hello. My name is Trevor Milton. I am a faculty member in the Social Sciences Department. I teach mostly criminology and sociology courses, and I'm on the diversity committee. And I wanted to speak briefly about what the committee does, and generally speaking about kind of what's the whole purpose of having a diversity committee, and honestly, what's kind of the timing and the importance of having this discussion now in front of all the faculty here at the college. This summer, the summer of 2016, has, I haven't come up with a name for it yet, but it's going to be named something in the future, as this has been a summer that has seen a lot of chaos, a lot of violence, a lot of opening of old wounds, and has forced, I would say, forced a lot of society into a discussion about race and about class and about, especially about police brutality, and how social institutions impact us. And so, we at the college, the diversity committee, the president, Brian Kerr, all folks involved in this have had several conversations throughout the summer about what to do, what kind of statements should we have, what kind of activities should we create, because we can't just let this moment pass. We can't just let this moment be gone. So I'm starting actually directly with some of your words, President Call, about QCC's commitment to diversity. And saying that, City University of New York has a longstanding commitment to diversity and equal opportunity in all aspects of employment. Queensborough Community College, the president fully supports policies and practices that we have implemented to foster non-discrimination, affirmative action, and diversity and inclusion in the workplace. Now, these are words that some might just glance over, read right past, because you might be used to these words, but I think this is an opportunity where we really have to think about what these words mean and what it means to be a diverse campus. If any of you were here in January at our last time I was here up in front of you guys, I was talking and celebrating some of the diversity here at Queensborough Community College. I was showing some numbers about what our students look like. 139 different and again, if you remember from January, this is the exact same slide. 139 different nationalities, 87 languages, 31% Latino or Hispanic at the school, 25% Black, 22% Asian, 15% white. Top 10 countries of birth, all from completely different nations, many different nations all over the world. And one of the things that I was saying in January is that we should be celebrating this diversity. This is something that we should be celebrating at this school. You should be very glad to have had this as a tool to use in your classrooms, something that is not just to be glanced over, but something that we can all learn from. But then there's also, somewhat of the other side to this discussion beyond celebration is really to have uncomfortable conversations. Myself right now, again, I'm a sociologist by training. I'm engaged in research right now about post-racialism and colorblindness right now. And how, just to preface this was the main reason why I started this research, was because in 2008, when President Obama was elected, many people started to proclaim that we were entering a post-racial society. As if we have a president with some African ancestry, suddenly that means it's over. This is great. We've done it. Let's celebrate. Racism is over. We can throw a party now, and it's all over. 8 years later, it seems to have been the opposite of that. This presidency has, or Obama's election has seemed to brought some people out who were quietly racist. It has really seemed to bring out a lot more discussions about race, and sort of the ugliness of institutional racism in the U.S. has started to rear its head again. And so this is something where we have to have this conversation. And keep in mind that out of that presidency and out of this post-racial society came the concept of colorblind universalism. This is what we should be aiming for. We should be aiming for a society where we don't think about race anymore, where we don't talk about race anymore, because we're all American, we're all the same. And that sounds fantastic. But to suggest that we get over our racial problem in the United States by not talking about it and by ignoring it is the exact opposite of what we should be doing. We have to have these uncomfortable conversations. So, let me say, even for myself, and as I'm doing this research on race, I'm also doing research on my own family, and doing a lot of genealogical research. And digging into my past relatives, I've been able to discover all these great things. I have ancestors from Germany who were escaped Germany in 1848, escaping the Prussian rule at the time, who was kind of crushing these revolutions. I also have Prussian ancestry, which, according to my aunt, goes all the way back somehow to Peter the Great in Russia. I still haven't been able to find that. I haven't been able to find that tie. I apparently also have Polish ancestry and Latvian ancestry, and I have all these this great genealogical research looking at a lot of my ancestors. But I live in a society where everybody is born and raised not to see these things that I just mentioned to you, because I also have a father that's African American. And we live in a society that's trained to see race. To say that we're colorblind is foolish. For those who say something like, "Oh, I'm colorblind, I don't see race, I don't see anything," please stop lying. You've been trained since birth to see this stuff. And to say that racism is something that no longer exists is also very foolish to say. And I believe it was Jane Elliott that said, she said that all white persons are racist. I would take that a step further and say that all of us are. We are all born and raised to see race and to be constantly reminded of it, to remind our children of it. We are all swimming in that pool of racism in that sense. So this isn't something that could just be ignored. We have to have these uncomfortable conversations. And what I'm leading up to is about recognizing your biases, recognizing the things that you may not necessarily even be aware of yourself. And I wanted to use a couple of kind of off the off-the-cuff examples. I'm going to read you a quote from a famous political figure when he was talking about this particular immigrant group, and I want you to tell me who you think this person is talking about. He was quoted as saying, "Few of their children in the country learn English. The signs in our streets have inscriptions in both languages. Unless the stream of their importation can be turned, they will soon so outnumber us that all the advantages we have will not only be able to preserve our language, and even our government will become precarious." If you know the answer to this question, be quiet for a second. Just hold on. Who do you think this person is talking about? Which group? Which immigrant group? Who else? I just want to hear some answers. Italians, what else? If I told you someone said this yesterday, who do you think this person was talking about? Just I don't listen. One of the whole reasons I'm doing this is it's okay to talk. You know what? Let me take a little side note on this, because I'm seeing this happen already. Everybody's like, I don't want to say it because I'm not racist. I don't want to be racist. It's okay to have this conversation. This is the whole. We have to get. All right. Let me put it this way: to get over race, we have to go through it. Like this is to be this colorblindness. You can't do that. And I'll say this that. We live in an academic environment where if I were to get up here and talk about transgendered issues, and I were to ask you about it, people would speak very loud and proud about the rights of those who are transgendered, gay and lesbian rights, women's rights. For some reason, we hit this little mousy, silent area when it comes to race. We have to get over that. I mean, that's something that has to be gotten over. So if I told you that this was said yesterday, yes, for whoever loud and proudly said Hispanics, if I told you Donald Trump said this, you'd be like, oh, clearly he's talking about Mexicans. But this is Ben Franklin talking about Germans, the first person who answered correctly answered. Is that because you knew? You were supposed to be quiet. You weren't supposed to say anything yet. And so, and this is some of the stuff that I've come across in my research. And it's very interesting that, I would read this and I'm like, wow, this guy was talking about Germans. He was afraid that Germans were going to take over the country and that we would be eating all their food and speaking their language, and he was half right. So because we eat a lot of German food, and actually Germans represent the largest ethnicity in the country right now. I don't know if anybody knew that. But most people who are German American are American, period. This Ben Franklin was not, but apparently every group goes through this. And I'd found this other example here on Long Island where I was looking at, it was actually two groups where I was reading quote after quote where people were saying that these two groups, they're unintelligent, they're day laborers, stand on the corner, they bother passersby, I don't like the way they smell, I don't like the smell of their food. And then the biggest thing that I was seeing in all these stuff that I was researching was how this particular group in Long Island felt that their non-English speaking children were dragging down the quality of education in their schools. Again, if I told you that someone said this yesterday, who do you think they would be talking about? It's okay to talk.
In my neighborhood are Long Island Southport.
Okay, right. Right now, if you were to do a survey in Long Island about how do you feel about immigration in Long Island, they'd be very much focused on Central Americans. But these were Long Islanders talking about Russian Jews and Italians at the time. This was in the 1920s. And it was so fascinating to read the quotes, because I'm reading these quotes and I'm like, oh my God, these sound like they're talking about Central America. It's the exact, they're destroying our schools, they stand on the corner, they whistle at our women as they walk by, and I'm like, this is from 1920? Holy moly. And this is kind of one of the points about if you feel like you're exempt from bias, guess what? Your grandparents weren't. Your parents were not. And probably Germans, Italians, Russian Jews, I'm sure there's plenty of that in this room right now. And even something like this next quote, I'm not even sure if, I want you to tell me when you think this was said. This was about women. This important figurehead was saying this about women. It does appear that on many different levels, human attributes, height, weight, propensity for criminality, IQ, mathematical ability, and scientific ability, there's relatively clear evidence that there's a difference in the standard deviation. He was trying to use scientific terms to flower this up a little bit. And variability of male and female population. Basically, he was talking about the underperformance of women in sciences can be attributed to innate differences. When do you think a person can get away with saying this? I gave you an example from the 1750s, and I gave you another example from the 1920s. When do you think an important person said this publicly about women? I like the answers. This was actually said in 2005 by the president of Harvard University. And so, if I were to get up here again and talk about the biases that women still experience in the workplace, and in particular, the biases that women still experience in the sciences, many men in this room might be like, oh God, please. Oh, you get over it. You've had equal rights forever. In the same way that if an African-American person says, yes, I think racism still exists in America, someone might react to that and be like, oh, please, slavery ended 150 years ago. These biases still exist. And the worst thing that we could do is to pretend that they don't. And I understand the logic behind that thinking, behind colorblind universalism, is just to listen, if we all just kind of close our eyes and pretend it's not there, it will disappear at some point. That's not how this works. It's kind of like, let's say, is anybody in this room concerned about global climate change? I'm gonna use the neutral term. How many of you are concerned about global warming? And what are you doing about it, right? If you choose from this day forward to recycle, awesome, good for you. Does that clean up all the pollution in the world? No. And this is where we are in discussions about race. You may teach your children to be tolerant towards everybody. You may decide yourself, well, I'm not racist, I'm not gonna be racist. But there's still a cleaning up that has to be done. And when talking about, let's say, police brutality and the targeting of young African-American males, the burden isn't on African Americans to fix that problem. The burden is on everybody to talk about that problem. And it's not, forgive me, this sounds too radical. I was even thinking about Black Lives Matters. I don't even think black people should be wearing those t-shirts. I think white people should be wearing those t-shirts. It's really, and to understand a movement like that, to say that, for people to come out and say that Black Lives Matters, and then someone else responds and says, well, all lives matter. Well, yeah, sure. But that takes that same colorblind route where it's let's ignore the race part of it and say that no one should be getting hurt in this world. That doesn't address that certain people are being targeted. I mean, again, if I were to make a gender issue out of this, sexual assault on college campuses. Well, no one should be assaulted on college campuses. But who's being targeted in these cases? To ignore that young women are the targets of sexual assault is a foolish way of dealing with that particular issue. And so this is why, and forgive me if I've made everybody uncomfortable, but that was kind of my goal today. So I'm not gonna, you know what, I'm gonna take that apology back. So the purpose of this is to talk about, that we should be celebrating the diversity that we have on campus and what you learn from your students and what your students can learn from you, but also to not be comfortable about having these conversations. Just because you're not of a group that is at the receiving end of discrimination doesn't mean that you can't talk about it. As a man, I can advocate for the safety of women. As a heterosexual man, I can advocate for the safety and the rights of transgendered and gays and lesbians. That's not something, I'm not gonna say, well, I'm a man, that's not my problem, I'm gonna leave myself out of it. That's not how this works. We all have to have these conversations. And so the Diversity Committee is here to be a place where these things can happen. This entire campus should be a safe space where students can feel like they're not going to be discriminated against, where other faculty feel like they're not going to be discriminated against, and where we need to talk about areas where we're not doing very well. For example, we have a community forum here, or we did. I believe we do have a community, an online community forum here at the college, and it's become a place that's filled with speech that's I'm not very proud of at all, and I assume many of you are not proud of. I think what a lot of faculty are doing in response to that is like, well, I'm just not going to respond. I'm not going to go on there. I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to let it be this place where this hate builds. That's not good. You know, that needs to be addressed immediately here at this college. This shouldn't be a place. And listen, I was told as a junior, like the second I got in the door, I had other faculty members say to me, like, just don't read it. Just don't read it. You're not going to be happy with what you see there. That's not how you deal with a problem. You know, that's not how you deal with honestly, some of the things that I have read are incredibly disappointing. I can't believe educated people talk this way sometimes. So I just want to express my disappointment in that. But again, ignoring it is not the answer. We have to deal with that. So again, this diversity committee is here for to help garner these conversations, to create platforms where we can learn about some of our biases. I mean, even take, for example, like most people, and I'm a biracial person, like most people, I would say out loud, I'm not racist, I don't have a racist bone in my body. I'm not sexist at all. But we do have to recognize some of these microaggressions that do come out in everyday activity. Sometimes, and most importantly, sometimes they come out while we're teaching and we don't even realize that we're saying these things. I'm gonna give you a really silly example. I grew up in Massachusetts, and I grew up on the south, I don't know if anybody is from Massachusetts. I grew up on the South Shore of Massachusetts, and as a high schooler, people used to, like, when we didn't like something, we used to call it retarded. That's so retarded, that's wicked retarded. As an adult, that's not okay to use that word. You know, and this is one of the most important things that, like, I shouldn't say, like, well, I want to use the word retarded because that's a part of my vocabulary. We have to recognize that we are the architects of the language that we're going to have in the future. We are, and society is built through language and meaning. It is built through the words that we say, you know, so like you do have to watch what you say. And I know you might hem and haw about it and be like, oh, and I have to watch and just let me be who I am, and you're restricting my free speech and you're being too politically correct. But recognize that you are the architects of what your children will be saying, what your grandkids will be saying later. There's quite a few words that I've had to remove from my vocabulary, sexist words, racist words that I've had to remove from my vocabulary because I want to be kind to those around me. And that's the hard work we have to do, you know, that we really have to, this is hard work. But again, the diversity committee is here to help in that process. So, yeah, I was gonna say something about hiring more faculty here. I'm just walking in the room. Did we play that video? Ooh, does anybody have that queued up? So, I'll find it really quick. So if anybody was, you have that queued up? Oh, great. So let me at least show you the results of some of this stuff that we were talking about in January. In January, I in particular was a part of an initiative. Oh, it's right there? Okay. All right, so I'll just click on that. In January, I was one of the lead persons on the part of this initiative to hire a more diverse faculty at the school. And I'd asked a lot of senior faculty to give input and talk about what it's like to teach here at the school. And we put together a recruiting video on why I teach at QCC. And this goes for everybody in this room, like what you should be proud of when you teach at this school. So this is the end result. This is a video that's going to go out to other graduate programs, professional programs, when looking for new faculty. The reality is that we do need more faculty that represents the diversity at this school. And I don't want anyone to be uncomfortable or offended by that statement either, because, and actually that was the reason I had these numbers up. If we had 80% female faculty at the school or 80% male faculty at the school, wouldn't you think that we need to even that out a little bit in order to speak to the students better? I mean, I even see, New York City Public Schools has this poster on the trains right now that says something to the effect of the students need to reflect what the students look like. And it's a recruiting poster for more male teachers. So again, if it's okay to say that, it's okay to say that, and it's all right that we're more diverse as a faculty. So again, this was the, if I can get this to work, there we go. This is the end result.
I've been at QCC for 3 years.
So this is the end of my 8th year.
Well, I've been at Queensborough now for, I think, about 16 years, and it's been a real great journey.
I started at Queensborough Community College as a student. I'm a veteran. There was a veterans program, and today I'm a faculty member.
Okay, I was born in Jamaica, lived there many years. Like, I came here when I was 13.
I'm originally from Arkansas. You know, I think it's diversity, not just in the type of people that you find in New York City, but also the sense of just the various things that you can do and the opportunities that are presented here.
And this goes for both Queensborough Community College and Queens as a county. There's always going to be something that I had never heard of before. One of my students is always going to bring up some sort of cultural practice or some sort of behavioral practice that I'm unfamiliar with. And it enriches me, it enriches the classroom. We all get to learn as a community every single day.
I have students from over, 60 different language backgrounds.
The students come with cross-cultural examples. They come from places where things are done differently or were done differently, and we can speak about the United States and problematize society in the United States in a way that's potentially very unique.
I get to learn. That's the first advantage, right? And then I get to hear about different ways of seeing things.
We think about that every day here, and so I really wanted to be in the communities where hopefully my students would be coming from.
So the city is our classroom. It's almost like another text that we can draw on.
Having a rich mix, social, economically, culturally, is very helpful at Queensborough for the students as well as for the faculty. It's helpful to the students because it prepares them for the world that they will be living in.
You teach courses that you enjoy teaching, yet at the same time you have all this support for research and for scholarship.
Number one, the administration and how things are run. The chairs that I've dealt with have been absolutely incredible and supportive. The facilities are top-notch. The education that you can deliver is top-notch. The research that you can do here is top-notch.
And so I felt a lot of freedom to pursue my own research agenda and to make sense of it.
I think the two-year students, they really appreciate this kind of attention that they get.
I think the opportunities for pedagogy are, unique and special at a two-year school. You get to do a lot more innovative stuff in your classroom. You have to find a way to make your classroom work for everybody.
Queensborough is fortunate because it draws from the most diverse county in the world. Its student body and faculty reflect that diversity. I've lived here most of my life, except for the 4 years I spent at the Air Force Academy and 5 years in the space business in California.
One of the most remarkable things each semester is to hear a student say to me, I have never had a professor who looks like you. I've never had a teacher who looks like you.
But I think at the end of the day, when a career is over, or even a life is kind of winding down, what you'll remember is not the paper that you published in ASR, but the students that you had lunch with and the students that taught you something and the relationships and friendships you had with colleagues.
I come home every day happy. I like what I do. I like the students I work with. I like my colleagues. I like the opportunity to teach and the way I'm allowed to teach here.
I've taught at a lot of different schools, and I am completely happy here at QCC, and there's no other institution that I would rather be at, and I plan to retire from here.
Don't you want to teach at that school? I think I'm going to pass the mic, if you will, to Carrie Ann in order to talk about some of the things that we have planned for this year. This isn't just, us giving off a one-off speech and then letting you guys go. We have many activities that are planned for faculty throughout the year. I truly hope that everybody in this room gets involved And I hope to see you there. So if you want to come on up.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, okay. Okay. Not offended. Good morning. I'd like to thank Dr. Call. We don't want to miss that opportunity to thank you for allowing this committee to be put together and your administration for supporting the committee. This summer, I have to follow Trevor. That's a really hard act, but this summer seems to be the narrative of the day. But there's something else that I'd like to talk about from this summer that is one of my favorite things every 4 years, the Olympics. And it's one of my favorite events because no matter where or what we know about certain countries, whether they are labeled as poor, terroristic, or overrun with immigrants, or male-dominant or homophobic, every 4 years, countries across the world come together in one space, and they work together. They send their best, right? Even if they come last in a race behind Jamaica, shout out, right? Even if they come last, they're still the best from their country. All of these people live together in one village. North Korea was at the Olympics this year. And the Olympics for me is incredibly important because it's an event that shows us the power of the indomitable human spirit, right? We get to see all these things and we get to see everybody work together. So I'd like to think of QCC, or all of us as faculty members, as members of the Team QCC Olympic team. That we have all graduated from some of the best schools in the nation, right? And we are all here together, and no matter what our rank is, or our race, or our age, or our affiliation, or our gender, we all strive for one gold medal, and that's to really see our students walk across the stage at the end of a certain period. I don't want to say what the period is right now. But we're all QCC, and like the Olympic relay teams, we need to ensure that every leg is a strong leg, right? Every leg of our Olympic race, our relay is a strong leg, and that we have to pass the baton and be on equal footing everywhere on our campus to ensure that we wear our QCC, what are the bibs, or jerseys rather, with pride. And that we're showing other schools that we're strong, and we're showing them what a strong team looks like. Team Jamaica. Yeah. So the question that I have, I'm sorry, I'm unapologetically Jamaican, as you saw in the video. But I have a few questions for us as a team, really. How are we doing? Can we do better? Are all of our team members comfortable running their leg of the relay? Are some feeling left behind? Are other team members' legs weary? If so, how do we level the playing field so that we can be more equipped to win? How do we encourage them to express themselves? How do we foster an environment where different voices are given equal time? How do we disagree without being disagreeable? How do we have an open dialogue without closing our hearts and our minds, without shutting people up and shutting people out? How do we celebrate our triumphs while also acknowledging our tragedies? And these are all the things we'd like to actually spend some time looking at this year as a campus and as a community. I like the word community, right? That we embrace each other. We want to make our team the best in the world. We would like to be the Team USA of swimming. You guys have that. The Team Brazil of soccer, and naturally the Team Jamaica of athletics, right? It would be great to have QCC be that team. So consequently, what we've done, the QCC Faculty Diversity Strategic Plan and Advisory Committee, say that 10 times fast, has planned a number of really interesting events. The kickoff event, it will be on September 16. Dr. Paul M. Buckley, I'm so happy he's coming, of Colorado College. He is the first director of the Butler Center at Colorado College. Prior to that, he was at Dartmouth, and then before that, he was at Andrews University, and before that, he was at Syracuse, where he started a program called WellsLink. And WellsLink actually was a program he designed. He'll tell you more about it, but he designed that program to help students feel a little bit more comfortable on the campus of Syracuse University. Students from diverse backgrounds. He'll be here, and he'll be talking to us about those uncomfortable conversations and what it's like to foster diversity on a campus, how we can start the conversation, how we can move it forward. Following him in October, Dr. Lisa Zakia Newland of Malloy College, she's local, will be here to do a workshop with us with those uncomfortable conversations, teaching us how to speak to each other, how to speak, not speak at each other, but how to speak to each other, and how to engage issues, really, how to engage them, not avoid them or not answer the dialogue. But, she'll talk about how we engage diversity on our campus. So we know that those are the two main speaker events for the fall. There are several others, and there is a calendar that will be circulated. But given the fact that this summer was riddled with both tragedy and triumph, we watched the man die in a live feed on Facebook. That's we watched that happen. But we also saw Wayne Van Niekerk from South Africa, who won a gold medal at the Olympics as a man of color whose mother could not represent South Africa because of apartheid. We saw him triumph in the Olympics. And so we know that, well, we've also seen the summer of overcoming and over-exaggerating, Ryan Lochte. But as QCC, as Team QCC, I hope that we could band together and create one environment where we foster growth, unity, and of course, overall achievement. So we're hoping that with these events that we start off with, first on September 16th, like I said, with Dr. Buckley being here, we hope that this team will be present. Because if any person is missing from any leg of the race, we know that we can't be successful. If any person does not understand how to carry his or her weight as they run this race, we can't be successful. We are really one team, and together we are one community with infinite possibilities. So my question is, and the final thing I have to say is, will you join us? September 16. Thank you. Trevor wants me to say the dates one more time. September 16 is Dr. Buckley's presentation. I'm not sure what room it will be in, but of course that will be circulated. And then October, I can't remember the date off the top of my head. I think it's the 28th of October. Okay, don't copy that, strike that from the record. There's another date in October where Dr. Newland will be here, but I'm sure right now of September 16, Dr. Paul Buckley will be here. I really hope that everyone here can be there to run this race. We really do need to do it together. Thank you.
Thank you all so very much. I really hope you have an extraordinary semester. I think all of us can be very, very proud of the work that you do as individuals. You've heard some of our extraordinary faculty who will lead us as next generation leaders forward to do incredible things, to increase all the success that we do. I really appreciate your being here. I want to thank Trevor, Carrie Ann, members of the committee. And I said to Kathy Weintraub before this, she sent out a wonderful article last week, the week before, and it was really quite striking because it talked about stress management and the incredible complexities of our students' lives and our own lives, frankly. I mean, it's not just because you're a faculty member doesn't mean you don't have a lot of things going on in your life that are sometimes difficult. But I think what I took from that was the notion of a community and a culture of care. Not necessarily caring, because people will take offense at that word, clearly. But I think just the whole notion of framing what we do, care for people, care about people, care for our words, which are so powerful, as we've noted. And I trust all of us, because this is an incredible institution. And so as you have your semester and you meet all your incredible students, some of whom may really call upon you to exercise all of your great skills, but you'll know that it's something incredible is happening here. On behalf of our students, I thank you. On behalf of all of us who've worked for many years in this institution, and for those of you who are just here brand new, thank you, and have an incredibly good semester. And stay tuned for various pieces of information. You will hear about a wonderful program of activities. And find the time to do something. Whatever you want, do something. Become engaged. That's what I say to students. I say it to you as well. There's such power in this group. So I thank you, and have a great, great term.